Imagine a hip-hop dynasty that has dominated Atlanta's music scene for more than 20 years. Standing side by side as the first family of the South, T.Y. and Tiny are the ideal power couple who have survived everything from court cases to public music scandals. But what if this royal family's foundation was based on a tragic lie? The ultimate provocateur and business entrepreneur of the music rap industry, 50 Cent, is the match that ignited the current music frenzy on social media. Music in a move that has rocked the entertainment industry, 50 Cent music has made a claim so explosive that it could permanently destroy the Harris legacy. Music. This time, he's not merely trolling. He says he has seen DNA proof proving King Harris is a musician. The family's most vocal and contentious son isn't Music Ty's biological child. This isn't your typical rap feud. This is a direct blow to the heart of a guy, Music, who took great pride in his family values and his image as the king of the South. But as the news reached home, true mayhem broke out. The unimaginable occurred while everyone waited for Ty Music to stand up for his wife and son like he always does. Music. There were rumors of a huge internal collapse. It is said that the music of pure, unadulterated T.I. didn't direct his hatred music toward 50 Cent because of the DNA results. He gestured at Tiny. According to sources, the rubber band man himself, Music, betrayed his longtime relationship by calling her out in the most insulting manner imaginable and allegedly calling his children's mother a hooker in front of their inner group. Music, is this just 50 Cent manipulating T.I., worked with his typical psychological tricks? Or has Music, a sinister secret, finally emerged from the Harris mansion's shadows? We are delving deeply into the depths of this developing music issue today. We're examining the origins of these allegations, King Harris's combative response, and whether Ty and Tiny's marriage, Music, can withstand such a personal setback. Before Music improves, the consequences of this DNA drama are going to get a lot worse, so buckle up. 50 Cent and T. I have been at odds for a long time. With these explosive DNA allegations, a long-running psychological chess music battle has now reached a boiling point. The hip-hop community has been watching for years as 50 Cent, the undisputed king of digital trolling, Music, has made fun of T.Y.'s street credibility, reputation, and music family relationships. However, this most recent action is distinct. It's more than just a light-hearted jab or a humorous music meme. It's a precise attack that targeted the center of Ty's masculinity and his fatherly inheritance, Music. When 50 Cent purportedly learned that King Harris, the most contentious and outspoken member of the Harris clan, might not have the same music ancestry as the King of the South, the rumor mill started to spin wildly. You must examine T's and King's relationship in order to comprehend why this struck so deeply. King has frequently been perceived as the wild card, frequently getting into public altercations and acting out in ways that look to separate him from his father's refined Atlanta royalty reputation. Despite T.Y.'s constant efforts to project an image of smart, high-level leadership. The maestro of observation, 50 Cent, is said to have capitalized on this gap, utilizing it as fuel to start a story that Music explains why King behaves so differently from Tip, since he isn't a Tip at all. The digital environment became a war as these allegations started to spread through the industry's back music channels. 50 Cent's exposure history is famous. He's the one who used a single Instagram music post to destroy entire careers. The world didn't just laugh when he suggested that he had DNA evidence. Instead, they leaned in. According to the story, there had been simmering tension in the Harris household for months, with T-Music supposedly questioning King's actions increasingly often. Also, the reports coming out of the 50 Music Cent's camp state that are the results of a covert test were like dropping a nuclear bomb on a peaceful suburban music house. It is said that there was a simple mismatch in the genetic markers. Music. The mere insinuation of this is a clear insult to the pride of a man like T, whose entire brand is based on the idea of family first and the family hustle. 50 Cent is a skilled knife twister. Additionally, by making King's fatherhood music public, he has essentially put T.Y. in a position where he must either disprove the world or deal with the most embarrassing disclosure of his professional life. The drama was not limited to 50 Cent's social media stream for very long. It soon seeped into Atlanta's streets, where the Harris A family name is very important. Tipped music. In an attempt to uncover any truth in allegations made in the 1950s, people began examining old video, evaluating King's features, and contrasting them with those of Ty and Tiny. This is the negative aspect of celebrity music culture, where a person's biological ancestry is discussed in public. However, the situation inside the Harris estate was reportedly getting worse, while the public was occupied with musical conjecture. Music. Ty is renowned for his extensive vocabulary and his capacity for composure under duress. However, those musicians who are close to him claim that this was the tipping point. The visceral, guttural fear of being deceived by the person he trusted most met with the burden of being Ty, the parent, the teacher, and the music rapper. A private suspicion became a public nightmare due to tiny musician 50 Cent's involvement. He wasn't merely saying that a child wasn't one of his competitors. He was suggesting that Tiny, a musician who had supported T.I. at both career highs and jail stints, had been living a double life for almost 2 decades. The hip-hop community as a whole has been impacted by these accusations. Music industry insiders and other rappers started to pick sides. Some said that 50 Cent is too messy to involve children in a dispute, while others muttered, "Music," that 50 seldom makes such audacious allegations without supporting documentation. The emphasis changed. Music. From the music to the DNA, King Harris was caught in the middle of an unwelcome storm. Despite his affluent upbringing, King has always been a divisive character, but sometimes condemned for attempting too hard to come from the streets. However, nothing else could humanize him as this controversy did. All of a sudden, he was more than just a pampered music star. He was a young man whose identity was being called into question on a worldwide scale. In the meantime, T.Y.'s early morning silence music on the subject simply served to intensify the rumors. Silence is frequently seen as an admission of guilt or an indication of complete internal collapse in the realm of viral news. The stage is prepared for a complete breakdown of the family as the first chapter of the drama comes to an end. The explosion took place behind closed music doors when T finally confronted Tiny, but 50 Cent's assertions served as the catalyst. This was not a polite exchange between a husband and wife. It was a question. But Ty's King character was apparently taken away by the shock of the DNA results music, leaving behind a man who felt deceived and betrayed. The narrative changed from being an internet meme to a devastating family music disaster when 50 Cent's music trolling gave way to T.Y.'s emotional outburst. The entire globe was observing the screens, but the true harm was occurring in their homes' hallways, music, where the trust that had taken 20 years to establish was destroyed in 20 minutes. The Harris family's cries of betrayal echoed every word fans said in gate-mouthed shock, culminating in the reported moment when T looked at the lady he loved and saw a stranger, prompting him to say the words that would permanently alter their relationship. Music. It was nothing short of a movie tragedy. The showdown that ensued when 50 Cent publicly assassinated the Harris family, music legacy. The weight of the DNA accusations apparently caused the air inside their Atlanta estate to turn chilly music. Ty, a man renowned for his strategic vocabulary and his capacity to overcome any adversary, music, supposedly ran out of things to say before the quiet erupted into a barrage of accusations. This was more than simply an Instagram post. It was about 20 years of music history, Tiny's jail visits, reality shows portraying them as the epitome of hip-hop families, and the innumerable instances in which they stood up for each other against the outside world. When the purported outcomes were revealed, the king of music, the South, allegedly witnessed the collapse of his entire kingdom due to music from a perceived betrayal at the core of his house, rather than lyrics from a rival rapper. Insiders report that the long-simmering strain over minor infidelity and public altercations, music finally erupted into a scorched earth dispute that shook the fundamental basis of their union. The labels started flying as the dispute grew more heated. According to reports, T eschewed his typical music-composed manner in a moment of blinded rage and attacked Tiny's persona with the most poisonous comments possible. The startling hooker accusation, music, came to light at this point. In a marriage based on respect for one another and public branding, this word carries a great, terrible burden. You have to consider the difficult path that the Hariza's music have taken in order to comprehend why such a name would even be used. There has never been a fairy tale in their relationship. The public struggle for stability has been brutal. From the rumours of open arrangements and third-party involvement that had dogged their headlines for 10 years, to the 2016 divorce file that was ultimately cancelled. The seeds of mistrust, music, were already sown. 50 Cent merely gave those seeds the water they needed to develop into a monster. For someone who had been acting dishonestly from the beginning, Ty supposedly believed that every sacrifice he made and every time he spoke up for Tiny's honor in the streets was in vain if the DNA results were accurate. Music. It is impossible to overestimate Tiny's current psychological toll. She has been the cornerstone of the Harris brand for many years, frequently bearing the brunt of T's legal issues and serving as the matriarch of a huge combined music family. It was a turning point to receive such a disparaging name from the man she assisted in becoming a mogul. According to people close to the scene, the house was split apart right away, and security and employees saw an apparent irreversible breakdown in communication music. The remark about the hooker wasn't merely offensive. Music. Her identity as a wife and mother was completely shattered. Tiny apparently had to defend her entire life's work, while Ty was suffering musically from the hit to his ego and his heritage. Observers were aware of the situation's irony. Music, T.I., a man who has experienced his fair share of rumours from others, and side-piece accusations over the years, was now adopting the most musical, combative stance in order to take the moral high ground. According to reports, this hypocrisy fueled the flames, transforming a paternity issue into a full-fledged character assassination music on both sides. In the meantime, the social scene in Atlanta started to feel the effects of this internal explosion. Reputation is money in the high-stakes world of urban entertainment. T.I.'s king persona, music, would be seen as a joke if he really thought his wife was unfaithful to the extent of a paternity scandal. This explains why the rage was so intense. It was protective. Through labeling Tired in such a brutal way, Music Ty was purportedly attempting to disassociate himself from the humiliation and blaming her entirely while Music 50 Cent stood by and observed the mayhem he caused. Is King his son? Started to give way to, how long has this marriage music been a lie? People began going over earlier interviews in which Tiny discussed her difficulties, searching music for hints or indications that she was concealing such a huge secret. Every social media homage, every family hustle episode, and every red carpet appearance was now seen with suspicion. There was more than just a breach of trust between two individuals. Music was interrupted between the celebrity couple and the viewers who had spent years following their tale. This conflict's aftermath represents the darkest musical period in their lengthy history. It gets beyond the boundaries of a rap feud and into the world of a family being split apart by music and the very renown that brought them prosperity. The stillness music from the Harris camp apparently grew deafening as Ty removed himself from the matter. A smart tweet or a big-budget marketing campaign wouldn't solve this problem. The harm music was caused by the words shouted during that intense exchange. The denial of a son's biological link, music, and the hooker label caused a divide that no amount of fame or money could make a difference. The attention music switches from the parents to the child, caught in the middle as the second portion of the story comes to an end. King Harris was left standing in the ruins of his own identity while Ty and Tiny were busy demolishing each other over 50 Cent's music accusations. He was made to watch as the two individuals he called his parents became strangers in front of his eyes. Now music was ready for the big question. When a prince's music throne is denied by the king, what happens to him? The story enters its most intricate and tragic music phase when the initial explosion within the Harris household settles. The fallout and the desperate search for the truth. A claim as significant as dubious, musical paternity doesn't simply vanish in the high-stakes world of celebrity gossip. It turns into an enduring shadow that hangs over all subsequent encounters. For King Harris, music wasn't just another trendy issue or viral headline. His identity and very being were directly challenged by music. In spite of the reports that were circulating due to 50 Cent's persistent and strategic social media presence, King made the decision to confront the flames head-on. Rather than withdrawing into the Harris mansion's shadows, music moved straight into the light, strengthening his devotion to his mother while also launching his own emotional defense. Music. This occasion pushed music to exhibit a degree of unvarnished defiance that few had anticipated for a young guy who was frequently written off by critics as merely a star kid playing a part. He wasn't merely protecting his reputation. He stood in the ruins of a family music dynamic that had been destroyed by the public opinion court. The most contentious and hotly contested aspect of this whole story is the veracity of these DNA musical assertions. The hip-hop community started to wonder about the nature of this attack, even though 50 Cent music has a legendary reputation for having receipts and revealing the trade secrets of his music rivals. Was this a masterclass in psychological music? Is it a true revelation of a long-kept family secret? Or is it warfare intended to destroy TY from the inside out? 50 Cent is a master of the half-truth according to industry insiders who frequently use a tiny grain of reality to create a big story of chaos. But in this case, music, the harm already done, was almost more important than the objective truth of the DNA's music. No amount of public relations strategy could simply mend the significant divide caused by the reported hooker comment and the vitriolic storm that followed. For the Harris empire felt like a house of cards, music, toppling under the weight of its own internal problems after years of being effectively music sold as the family hustle brand, a symbol of unity and Black achievement. Mistrust. Behind the scenes, this impact has tremendous and maybe irreversible legal and financial ramifications. There is more to the Harris family name than just a music last name. Reality television music contracts, music publishing catalogues, and other high-level economic endeavors are all part of this multi-million-dollar corporate structure. Every contract now on the table was in jeopardy due to a public paternity controversy and music, a domestic collapse of this size. East Music. The partition of T.I. and Tiny's big hustle, music assets, would probably become one of the most costly and legally challenging divorces in entertainment history. However, there is the terrible human cost that goes beyond the bank accounts and music, the corporate dealings. King Harris and his siblings are now embroiled in a public civil war that they did not initiate or have any control over. The King of the South is now in a precarious situation where he may have technically survived 50 Cent's first music jab, but at the expense of his son's esteem and the tranquility of his own household. The response music from social media has remained a double-edged sword, getting deeper every hour. Music, Although some online communities are still making jokes out of the incident, a sizable section of the public has started to voice a feeling of genuine concern and scandal fatigue. They are weary of witnessing a legendary family, one that stood for tenacity for more than 20 years, be destroyed music by provocations from outsiders. As a result, Tiny Harris has experienced an unexpected and dramatic spike in support music. She is now viewed by many fans as the ultimate survivor of 50 Cent's premeditated malice and T's enormous ego. Music. The last question is still unanswered as the clicks and views keep coming in. Is it possible for the Harris family to become Atlanta's royal family again? Once damaged by the statements purportedly uttered during this DNA drama, trust is a resource that is rarely never completely returned to its initial condition. Ultimately, the entire music event is a sobering reminder of the utter frailty of contemporary celebrity. 50 Cent demonstrated that you don't have to outsell your competitor to win in the digital era. All you have to do is find the one fissure in their personal armor and push a wedge into it until it breaks. Music. Everyone involved in the Harris family drama is at a decisive musical crossroads as we wrap up this chapter. Ty is left attempting to take back a throne that seems more and more empty. After being publicly insulted, Tiny is left regaining a sense of dignity through music, and King is left to forge a route that is no longer limited by his father's legacy in terms of music. The consequences are unquestionably real, regardless of whether the DNA results were true or a clever work of malevolent fiction. But even if the King of the South is still wearing the crown, the throne room is quieter and more empty than it has ever been, demonstrating that a diss track isn't the most lethal weapon in the brutal game of hip-hop. It's the reality, or, at the very least, what the world is made to think is true. We want to know exactly what you think about this explosive circumstance because this drama music is far from over. Do you think 50 Cent is real? Does music really have the receipts to support these DNA claims? Or is this simply music, the king of social media beef, giving another master tutorial in trolling? What about Tiny and Ty? Is it possible for a marriage to truly recover after such internal strife and public disrespect? Let's start the discussion by leaving your opinions in the music comments section below. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the music channel, and enable notifications if you liked this in-depth look into the Harris family turmoil so you never miss an update on the biggest hip-hop stories. I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you in the upcoming.